The trade deadline is almost over, guys. There have been plenty of trades. How will the Avalanche look with some of their new players? We'll find out today when they play host to the Minnesota Wild. We'll also look at the Coyotes as they host the Detroit Red Wings. And our last game of the night, we'll take a look at the Seattle Kraken and the Winnipeg Jets. Happy Friday, guys. Welcome into Puck Time on WagerTalk TV. We have our fingers crossed under our desk. No problems today here on the show. Just the two of us. Just Carmine and myself here to break down a few games, best bets, and let's not forget the 6 and 60 segment. What's up, Carm?
Not much, man. Some great games last night in the NHL. The Bruins continue to show why they own the Leafs, but we won't discuss that on today's show because we have 3 games to talk about. Guys, make sure you tune in. There is no ladder challenge until next week. We'll start the ladder challenge, but the 6 and 60 is a special edition of the 6 and 60. And I'm going to show you after the 6 and 60 is done how I am backing it up with my ticket that I played this morning while putting together the 6 and 60. So you'll get to see that. But Andrew, we got a good one. We always talk about our Detroit staff. We talked about how great they are. Johnny Detroit, a season ticket holder. I know he wants some wins, and they're playing today. So let's discuss this game first. You're muted.
My fault. I thought Carm was going to start things off on that rough start here on the Friday.
I threw you a hook, dude. I threw you an uppercut. I'm a southpaw. I threw you a hook you weren't expecting. So we saw some hooks yesterday. Some monster fights, Andrew, yesterday in the NHL. I absolutely loved it. At least I'll say this, one last thought on yesterday. At least some of the teams that need to show a little toughness tried to send a message. It didn't work, but maybe they sent a message for the first round of the playoffs. We won't discuss who those teams are. I want you to go first on this game. I want to know your opinion on the Red Wings and the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm always going to you first. I don't mind starting things off here, Carm. You know I've been a big totals guy lately. And, what's that old phrase? If it ain't broke, don't fix it here. I'm looking for some goals in this one. Detroit overs are pretty profitable right now, whether they are doing the scoring, whether their opponent is doing the scoring. We're seeing goals in Detroit Red Wing games right now. And, what's crazy is Alex Lyon is still a great goaltender. Reimer is a good goaltender, I believe. But this defensive core, I think, has not been addressed enough in Detroit. I think they did not make any moves at the deadline. They're still young. Lots of wiggle room and lots of time for them to kind of build their team over the next few years. Give up 7 goals against Colorado. Colorado by themselves cashed my 5% ticket on the over in that one. 4 goals against Florida, 5 goals against the Islanders. And then you look back on their game against the Washington Capitals. They put up 8 goals against them. Earlier in the season, Connor Ingram and the goaltending tandem for the Coyotes, very, very strong, bailing out the Coyotes countless times in games, Carm, making them look good, keeping them in certain games. But now you look, they've given up 10 goals in their last 2 games combined here. No matter who they're playing, whether it's Chicago, whether it's Minnesota, whether it's Toronto, whether it's Montreal, it seems to me that this team is giving up 4 goals in every single day of the week that ends in Y. So why should we not bet the over in this game? I'm not sure. Maybe you can tell me, but I'm on the over in this one, Detroit and Arizona.
I like it. I'm not going to play it, but I like it, and I see where you're coming from. I'm going to say this. This game offers, if you really look at this game in the sense of breaking down Detroit's schedule, this game really offers a lot of value on Detroit at 135. There is value. It opened at 130. It's at 135 right now. Listen, when they put together that, I think it was that 6-game win streak, they were scoring goals. They were playing well. And now they're on a 3-game losing streak. And I get it. People are like, oh, that's it. They're starting to regress. They played an Islanders team in the first one where they lose 5-3. And that Islanders team is playing finally. Patrick Waugh, we talk about the coach's bounce. The coach's bounce has finally happened. The Islanders are playing extremely well. And I talked about them yesterday that they have 5 or 6 games in which they should win, I think 6 games, in which they should win at least 5 of them. And the LA Kings is the other one. Look at the Islanders, bet on the Islanders, guys, because they're playing well. They played the Islanders. They then play Florida. Florida has done this to everyone, shutting them down, keeping teams under 2 goals. Sure, they lost yesterday 2-1 to Philadelphia, but another great defensive performance. And then they play the Avalanche at home, and the Avs are playing extremely well as well too. They played 3 very good teams, playoff-bound teams. You know who's not a playoff-bound team? The Arizona Coyotes are not a playoff-bound team. Off back-to-back losses against Chicago of all teams. Chicago has 5 wins on the road. One of them was in Arizona 2 games back where they scored 5 goals. I'm a little hyper today, but 5 goals against Mini they allowed, 5 goals against Chicago. Detroit's going to come in there, and I think Detroit puck line, Detroit minus 135. Don't even worry about the puck line. You just throw that into, if you have a little parlay that you want to add some nice plus money, because it's plus money on the puck line, 135 for me on Detroit. They get it done against this Arizona Coyotes team before they head to Vegas tomorrow night to take on the Golden Knights.
Carm, I like that, man. And you know what? Sometimes teams, when they come off, a game and that they won and they're feeling very confident, they lay a dud, as you say, sometimes against the Coyotes. But this Detroit team is coming off the exact opposite of a victory. They're coming off getting their asses kicked, for lack of better words. So they will be motivated. I like that spot there. I think that if I like the over and I like your Red Wings pick, I think we both know what I should be doing tonight. Maybe the clients will find out with that team total a little bit later on tonight here with the client plays. But we're looking at Detroit here, guys, to get it done, and hopefully in high scoring fashion. Thank you all for being with us here on WagerTalk TV. We appreciate you watching. If you're enjoying the show, if we made you guys some money, if you learned something this week, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell. We really believe that subscribing is super important. Hitting the bell is just as important, so you guys are notified when we do go live with all of our shows, whether it's the NBA tip-off show, college basketball show, Wager Talk Today. We're doing so much content here. Also, recorded videos, so many single game breakdown videos over at wagertalk.com, WagerTalk TV. You guys can check out for free. Carm, let's keep things going. Minnesota and Colorado. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about Minnesota. I'm seeing plus 180 is the current number, minus 220-ish here for Colorado. This Minnesota team has been very confusing to me all season long. I don't know what to think of this Minnesota team. Colorado, though, they did make some moves, Carm, and a lot of it was some depth pieces. And I think that they're just only going to get stronger. Casey Middlestat added to their roster. One of those teams that was aggressive, but not too aggressive. But one thing I've noticed about this Minnesota team is, they've had kind of a light schedule lately. So they've been scoring lately, but can we take it seriously that it was against pretty bad teams? What are your thoughts on that mindset?
Listen, they're trying to make that playoff push. I don't think they get there. Colorado's playing well right now, and the Avs have something to play for. They're right there in the mix, for that number 1 seed. You've got Mini coming in on the second of a back-to-back. They played in Arizona last night. As mentioned, they'd had 3 nights off prior to that. Well, in second of back-to-backs, Minnesota, 11 games. This is going to be their 12th back-to-back this season. They are 4-5-2. Being outscored by, on average, about half a goal a game, 3.64 to 3.09. So their games do have goals in them, the second of back-to-back. So if you want to look at a total, you could look at that, maybe scoring 5 against Arizona. It doesn't matter who you score them against. I think when your offense starts to click a little bit, it can carry over into games. We've seen teams who can't score goals, like the San Jose Sharks, who go on the road and then score 5, and then the next night score 6, and it just seems to roll over. They're going to go in. They're going to probably find some goals tonight in Colorado. They might find 2, they might find 3, but they're going to lose the game. In my eyes, there's only one way to play it. So I'm going to take the over in this game, but it's Colorado for me. If you can find those same game kind of parlays where you take Colorado and the over, and your over goes from like 6.5 down to 5.5, I would take that because you're going to get plus money on it.
Carm, we've
It's a
talked
little
about
square, Andrew. It's a little
no,
square,
you're
but
good. You're good.
yeah, yeah.
You're good.
Well, no, favored in the over. It does seem a little square. As we're talking, I'm going to find what that number is because it's always out there, but it is a little square in that sense, Andrew. But sometimes it's worth a shot. So
Well, hey,
keep going.
sometimes those are the ones that
I'm listening
cash.
to you.
Well, look, I was going to say, we've talked a lot about props and we talk about shots on goal, point props and things, but I haven't really mentioned power play point props lately. I haven't talked about it on Prop It Up, haven't talked about it on Puck Time here. But is Colorado not the perfect team to mention for that? Like, I've got a buddy that every single time Colorado plays or Edmonton plays, you talk about square, he loves to bet the McKinnon props and the McDavid props. It works. He makes money doing it all the time. And looking at the power play props, though, you can get really good numbers. McKinnon to get a power play point, Carm, is plus 110. You can get Cale Makar to get a power play point at plus 150. Do you know how many points Cale Makar had last game? He had a hat trick, 3 goals, and I believe 5 points. Unbelievable. So the fact is, Mikko Rantanen plus 145, Kaprizov plus 154, Brock Faber plus 360. So, especially with certain teams like this, I know you're kind of banking on it, your team getting at least 2 or 3 power plays. But at the same time, when you can go from a guy that's nearly minus 200 to get a point to getting a Cale Makar at plus 150 power play point, especially come playoff time. I know you made money with it a couple years ago, Carm. I got to go back to this, man. With some of these top tier teams, their power plays are going to be absolutely deadly. So I'll be looking at that quite a bit. Any thoughts on that?
I have no thoughts on that, Andrew. Sorry,
Good.
I'm looking at odds. I'm looking at odds to give the guys in our chat because they're asking about it. And one guy mentioned, if I think in our live chat, it was Pobody. I think he said, when you like a game, when you like a game, give us your favorite PT prop. I guess it means or player prop. I'm gonna have that as the show best bet. I have one exactly what you're asking for. I have in as the show best bet, and we're gonna try and hit another one. We hit the Islanders team total yesterday, Andrew. But
Great
no,
call,
let's
Carm.
go,
Great
man.
call.
Let's keep going. Let's
Yeah,
keep
great
motoring
call on
along.
that. Great call on that team total. And again, guys, keep an eye out for those power play props because right now you're not getting a bargain on these top tier star players to get a point in 5-on-5, but you take these players to do well on the power play and you're somehow getting plus money on that. So certainly a good idea to look at it for teams like Colorado, teams like Edmonton, teams like New York, teams like the Maple Leafs. I think it's a really good idea to be looking at that. How about the Winnipeg Jets and Seattle Kraken? This Winnipeg Jets team, I think, continues to be underrated in the betting market. You look at them with the futures market, they're still heavily up there. Definitely a little bit kind of, I don't know. I guess we could say underappreciated because they don't really have that that style of play that impresses people like some of the other teams in the Western Conference do, like Vancouver have, like Edmonton contains here. But, one thing I have to say, Carm, I already talked about an over that I liked tonight. I think the true identity of this Seattle team is an under team. And we've seen back-to-back games where they've scored 4 goals. Prior to that, though, we saw a 2-1 game, 2-0 game. I think that this game is 2 under teams and their true identity. Winnipeg right now has been scoring goals. Their star players have gotten it together. But I think this total is where it is for a reason. And I love the fact that these teams just played recently. And you know what happened, Carm? The game went over the total. I'm looking for a defensive battle. I'm looking for a very disciplined game and a goaltending duel between 2 goalies playing some good hockey right now. So you know how it goes for me. It doesn't work all the time. First meeting goes over. Second meeting, this time around in Seattle, I'm hoping they can really shore things up in the D zone and take care of things and look for a defensive battle between the Jets and the Kraken. Give me the under in this one here, Carm.
I will agree with you on that, Andrew. I'm going to look at the side in this game. And listen, Winnipeg's having a great season, but we see it almost every year. Teams are looking to make a push into the playoffs. It was Florida last year. Florida obviously has more talent up and down that lineup than the Seattle Kraken, but sometimes it takes on a life of its own. A team starts to put it together. They play extremely well. And when they play defensively, they win games. When they need to have some offense, because they've got, they've had goals scored against them, kind of like in that game against Winnipeg last time out, they find the scoring. This Seattle team is what, 7-2-1 their last 10. They're 6 points out of a playoff spot, and we don't know what's going to happen at the trade deadline today. But you look at the teams above them. Okay, Vegas has gotten a little bit better. My God, their top defensive line is unbelievable right now. But their Vegas needs a little bit of scoring, so we'll see if they do anything else. A team that needs scoring, the LA Kings. The LA Kings could end up missing the playoffs. They're the second best defensive team, but they can't score goals. This team, I don't know what is wrong with them. They just can't score goals at the moment. If Seattle keeps winning and they're 6 points back, they're going to put themselves right square into that playoff race. And the closer you get, it seems like the more hungry you get. I like the Seattle Kraken at home as a dog. I'm getting plus 105. I'm going to take them. I get it. Winnipeg is a very good team, but they beat them in Winnipeg, and I normally will flip the other way. I'm not flipping this time. Kind of like the Leafs and Boston. You know what I mean? I tried to flip and say I thought Toronto was the play last night. It definitely wasn't. So I was dead wrong on that one. Give me the Seattle Kraken. Let's go release the Kraken tonight, plus 105.
I like it, Carm. You know what? I said the Winnipeg is underrated. Would you say that Seattle is a little bit? Maybe they don't get their respect because they've got some talent on that team. And as we're speaking right now, speaking of talent, forward Jordan Eberle has just signed a 2-year extension with the Kraken. So we're breaking some deals right now on PuckTime here on the show. Winnipeg and Seattle. Carm looking towards the home team at a great little price there, and I have the under 5.5 as I'm looking for a defensive battle in this one. Carm, I have a prop bet for this one actually in the best bet segment, so I will save it. But I will say for both these teams, and just a lot of them through this slate actually tonight in the NHL, a lot of great defenseman props. Like I'll tell you, everybody loves looking towards the flashy forwards, but when you look at defensemen, even looking at certain teams like my team, the Montreal Canadiens, right? They don't have much scoring. Did you know that they have several defensemen that are like 4th and 5th in scoring? It's kind of sad at that point to look at it. I mean, how is that even possible? Because it's not like they're scoring, 15 goals, 10 goals, but defensemen in general, with their assists, with their points, they're really good to look at for player props, and it's unique. People love to look at the top players, the top 2 lines. I'll never forget when Tampa Bay was on their huge run. I was betting player point props on their 3rd and 4th line players because Kucherov and Point and those guys, the prices were too high. But I was able to look towards some of these secondary option guys. And right now for Seattle, for Winnipeg, whether it be defensemen or whether it be depth pieces, they've got a lot of guys that are being used, which is great. And that's one reason why I really do like this Winnipeg team. I say it every year to you, Carm, and you guys can tell hopefully how much I love the NHL hockey. This year's playoffs is going to be unbelievable. I cannot wait to watch it. Every team is loading up. The bad teams are pretty bad this year, but the good teams are really scattered around. It's going to be a lot of competitive hockey. Carm, that will do it for our 3 games we're breaking down, but let's go to you for the 6 in 60 segment. You're looking ahead at some games for Saturday, and speaking of which, we will be recording a Saturday edition of Puck Time. We had some tech problems last Saturday, but this Saturday it will certainly get up. Carm, what do you have for us for tomorrow, brother?
All right, so I'm going to do the 6 in 60. This is a special edition of the 6 in 60, and I'll explain to you why, and then we're going to start the clock, because this is the 6 in 60 in 60. Every single game I took on this 6 and 60 is the teams must win in 60 minutes. It's a regulation bet on every single team in this one. And I put my money where my mouth is. I have a ticket. We're going to post it after the 6 and 60 segment is over. So there are two different little segments. And then, Andrew, you can give me your feedback on it if you want. And you guys can give me feedback in the chat or drop a comment in this video below if you're watching this later on. And of course, hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of this actionable info across the WagerTalk platform here at YouTube. So, and please hit the like button. I don't want to become Prez. All right. With that said, Dan, our producer, I'm staying away from Philadelphia on any of the 6 and 60 tomorrow. So you're really going to love that. Hit that clock and I'm ready to go. All right. Buffalo and Edmonton. Sabres off 3 straight losses, third in 4 nights. Oilers off a rare loss. Edmonton in regulation, 103. Boston, Pittsburgh. The Pens are like Wilson in Castaway. They're floating out into the ocean. Their season is done. Boston minus 113 in regulation. Florida and Calgary. Florida minus 129 in regulation. Florida on a 16-3 run and 3-0 off a loss during that run. Rangers and St. Louis. Rangers minus 141 in regulation. Rangers haven't lost 2 straight at home all season long. 7-0 off a home loss when playing at home again. Washington and Chicago. Washington minus 148. Chicago's 5-26 on the road. 25 of those losses in regulation. And finally, Vegas and Detroit. Vegas minus 108 in regulation. Vegas got a little better during the trade deadline. The Wings on the second of a back-to-back. That is your 6 and 60 in regulation.
There it is.
And there you have it, boys. That ticket is almost 36 to 1. $100 pays you a heck of a lot of pizza. $3,600. There it is, boys. Let's hit this ticket.
Single bet too. Single bet as well, please, everybody. Carm's throwing that out there, but he'll also be single betting those plays as well. So don't get too carried away, everybody. But man, Carm is throwing a pizza party for the entire WagerTalk staff if that one comes through and that one cashes. I like that regulation play that you ended off with there, Carm. Detroit, especially if they play well tonight, I think it's going to be real tough for them to give another 60 minutes tomorrow against a really good Vegas team. So if we're lucky, they will have an absolutely dominant performance tonight, and then things won't go very well tomorrow. That's what I hope for them. Yeah, I already have one spot circled for tomorrow that I'm betting, and I'm looking forward to it. But I don't have much for tonight, Carm, actually. Just one play I'm looking at so far.
Yeah, Andrew, I just want to mention, and the great thing about this 6 and 60, if there's somehow the stars align and the first 5 of this wins, the Vegas game is the last game of the night. So if your book offers cash outs, you have the option to cash out. You also have the option of taking Detroit on the puck line plus 1.5. There's different ways that you can hedge out it if you want. So the great thing is that's the last play of the night, I believe, of this parlay. So it gives you an option to get out of it. Should the stars align and someone, when I look at this, I'm like, which game is like the landmine that could blow up? And it's like, I like Edmonton. I think they're going to win. I like Boston. Like Pittsburgh just, for lack of a better word, screwed the pooch yesterday against Washington. Calgary could throw, the little flame in there, but this Florida team off a loss at home, I got to bet them. Rangers playing well. After they lose a game, I just can't see Chicago winning on the road. So maybe the Florida Calgary one. Andrew, what do you think? That's probably the only one where maybe the Flames, looking to get some points, can drag this one, low scoring game, drag it into overtime and kill the ticket.
I don't even want to hear the word Flames right now. This team is putting some of my tickets up in flames. I don't know what the problem is with this team, but Carm, it seems to me that right now some of these teams that traded off pieces, they might be live dogs in some spots. So I'm a little bit worried about it. We saw last night what happened. Several teams on Thursday that traded for new pieces, they lost. And I think it takes time, right? That's why you don't want to make too many moves at the deadline, because if you make too many moves, it can kind of backfire on you a little bit. It takes, we always joke around about how the trade deadline is too late in the NHL. These guys need to develop chemistry. Like, look right now. I know people say we talk about the Leafs all the time, but Bertuzzi is starting to play his best hockey of the year. Do you think that they signed Bertuzzi to play well in November and December? They signed him to play well in the spring, in playoff time, in March, April, and May, and June. That's why they signed Bertuzzi. So some of these guys, good for Sam Carrick, though. He fought Mathieu Olivier last night, which was awesome. I think the Oilers will appreciate that. And, it's a good way to get in the good boost with your team and them to start appreciating you and things like that. But be careful, guys, with these teams that picked up new players. It doesn't mean they're going to gel right away. So we'll see how they fit into some new lineups. Let's look at a player prop here for my best bet segment, Carm. Before I jump into it, though, I will remind people this is the last day of my promo code, Andrew75. Andrew75 takes $75 off a 30-day package. You can use it at WagerTalk.com, WT.buzz/AM. We got NHL, we got NBA, MLB spring training, and UFC. UFC 299 tomorrow is going to be a fantastic and very bettable card that I look forward to. And also have 2 plays I'm eyeing tomorrow in the NHL. My play for tonight, we're going to go with Josh Morrissey, defenseman from the Winnipeg Jets, who has gone over his assist prop in 7 of his last 10 games, plus 100. I told you guys, keep an eye out for these defensemen, the sneaky props you can get with them. He's out there quarterbacking every single power play that this Winnipeg Jets team goes out for. He is always jumping into the rush. He's great at moving the puck up the ice to his very talented forwards. They're playing the Kraken tonight. I believe he will get an assist tonight. 7 of his last 10 games, plus 100. I will take Josh Morrissey tonight, guys, to have a great one for me. And let's cash this ticket. Over to you, Carm.
All right. Mine is simple, and we mentioned it earlier. Well, it's not simple, but it's like a same game parlay. Andy Lang was on earlier in the week, so I'm taking his place with the same game parlay in this one. A player's prop with a team to win. Dallas Stars are going to win tonight. They have to win tonight. And Wyatt Johnson, he's on an 8-3 run with his shot props, but 4 straight he's gone over his total with 20 total shots, 4, 5, 5, and 6. So if you take Wyatt Johnson over 2.5 and pair it with the Dallas Stars to win, you get plus 110 on your money. The Johnson alone is minus 160. So that's high vig on a shot prop, but you pair it with the Dallas Stars to also win the game, and you're getting plus 110. I think that is a great prop to put a little bit of pizza money on and possibly hit. Hopefully it hits tonight. You'll see that code there. Win20 will get you $20 off an all access, 3-day all access. So all the plays today, tomorrow, and Sunday. And I have a lot of plays that are going to be going across European soccer, MLS soccer, NHL as well too. So jump on board. It's drops it down to $49, and it's the price of literally 2 days, and you get 3 days of plays. So that's it for me, Andrew. Two afternoon soccer plays and one NHL play for tonight. And that's it for me tonight.
Carm, best of luck, man. Have a great weekend. Start things off on a big note with those soccer plays. And right now, I feel like Adrian Wojnarowski with a big Woj bomb, because Tyler Toffoli is going to the Winnipeg Jets. I was just talking about how they're underrated. If you guys haven't gotten your futures in yet, Winnipeg Jets, Tyler Toffoli just picked up by them, a great veteran player to be added to that roster. I'm telling you, the Western Conference is going to be a bloodbath. The Devils, they are making the playoffs, Carm. They decided, hey, we'll move Toffoli. I feel for Tyler Toffoli. He's played for so many teams over the last few years. But that's a great pickup for the Winnipeg Jets. If you guys have not gotten your futures in yet, join me, because that number will drop eventually here. Thanks so much for joining us here on Puck Time on this Friday. And keep your eyes peeled for Saturday's edition of Puck Time right here on WagerTalk TV. Best of luck. We'll see you next time.